America's Pulse Network welcomes you to the Pulse Podcast. Today we've got a packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you well informed. So, please click the subscribe button to get notified of upcoming episodes. If you like what the APN's The Pulse Podcast talks about, then please share the Pulse with others. During this episode of The Pulse, the host looks forward to your comments. Tonight's APN's The Pulse Podcast starts now.
Hey everybody, this is Seth Eisenberg. You're at the Pulse. My screen is green because there's an issue, so I can't put my background up. So it's not bad. Could be worse. Could be a picture of me like getting out of the shower. So we're okay with this. So it is 8 o'clock. We're on time. You'll have me, and of course this is the Pulse, Wednesday at 8. Talking about a bunch of different things. We're gonna have Alexandra Levine with us here in a minute. Damon Galdo won't be with us this evening because, again, he's running for Congress in District 1 in New Jersey, and he's got some appearances he has to make tonight. Elena Barbera is helping Damon run for Congress in New Jersey, so she's tied up tonight helping him. So you get stuck with the beautiful people, and by that I mean Alexandra, not me. I'm just here. So we'll jump right into this and get it going. Man, hope you've enjoyed the week so far. I haven't worked too hard or anything like that. I never work too hard. Try not to. It's not good for you. That's what I hear. And I don't want to tempt fate. But that's just me. Who knows? Excuse me. All right, so let's jump into the first one we got here. I don't know if you heard about this. I believe it was in Wisconsin. Oh, man. There's a bar that said that if Trump died in office, they'd get free beer for the day. They've lost their license, unfortunately. Apparently, I think, if I remember correctly, they were shipping alcohol illegally from Illinois to their bar. They were pulling it in illegally. The Madison, the bar said the free beer day would be at its Madison tap room because that's open all year. And if he dies in the summer, then it's going to be the Mattaquan tap room. I guess it's another bar they owe. This was following the correspondence dinner. They said if he died in office, they'd give out free beer that day. And they were shut down for illegally shipping alcohol from Illinois to Wisconsin. Couldn't happen to a nicer place. And I wonder who they voted for. I don't understand liberals and their violence. Why they have to be so violent? I don't get it. I didn't like Biden. I didn't like Obama, but I never once wished death on them. And I never hated them. I just don't understand liberals and their like bloodlust. It's frightening to it. It's almost scary what they'll do and how they act when they don't like somebody. But yeah, they got shut down. I hope they don't get to reopen. Sounds like a slaughterhouse anyway. Probably got the chairs bolted to the floor and got teeth and blood stains on the ground. This guy, this is kind of funny. He's the head of the DNC, and apparently they're like bankrupt, or they're losing a lot of money. They put up their own headquarters for collateral for a record $15 million loan as their debt balloons to $18.5 million. The RNC, by comparison, held $128.5 million in cash with zero debt as of June 30th, while the DNC just had $16.3 million. Apparently, he got upset and threw his phone at an employee, or I don't know what you would call them, and he had to apologize. But they're kind of stressed out over their debt, which I can understand that. They had to borrow 15, or they had 16, borrowed 15, and now 18. I hopefully that's a sign that people really are pulling away from the Democrat Party. I mean, again, the guy throws things at people because things aren't going right. Previous, the bar was going to give free beer to people when Trump died if he was in office. I mean, these people have no control over their emotions at all. They're like monkeys on crystal meth. They get pissy and they just lash out, and we're supposed to be okay with it. Yep, this happened. Like I told you on Sunday, when we take a pause in military act with Iran because they want to think about things, it's not so they can think about things, it's so they can plan and regroup and restock. Exactly what they did. Iran launched multiple ballistic missiles at American forces in the Middle East on Tuesday, shattering a brief pause in fighting as mediators tried to get both sides back to negotiations towards a ceasefire. They don't want to have a ceasefire. They don't. Iranian missiles were successfully intercepted by U.S. CENTCOM, adding that the U.S. forces remain vigilant and in a high state of readiness. Iran does not want to cease. And if they're winning, they don't want to cease. As soon as they start getting beat, then they want to have a ceasefire. We need to stop doing that. We need to finish this, or this is going to keep happening. Break, then they'll attack during the break, and then we'll fight. Then they'll say, let's stop. Then we'll stop, and they'll attack us during the break. It will continue. They've shown it time and time again. What we need to do is destroy that whole regime. We need to kill them. And then let the people of Iran decide what type of government they want to have, and then let them have it. And we back out. It's really not that complicated. Stop trying to talk to people that don't want to talk. That's kind of stupid. This is another kind of, I don't know, it should be a little bit alarming. For the only second time ever, the American Red Cross has declared an emergency national blood crisis, urgently requesting donors to step up, especially those with O positive blood. I have O positive. So yeah, if you can give blood, give blood. It's a good thing to do in case there's a national emergency. They'll have the blood. I don't like needles, so no, not doing it. Don't like them. I've been stuck enough in the last couple of months. I don't want to get stuck again. But yeah, if you have O positive blood, they're definitely looking to vampire off of you. So go to your nearest Red Cross and donate if you got O positive. But it doesn't say, yeah, if you have any type of blood, just go. But they're specifically looking for O positive. And I think that's universal donor. I think. I don't know. Don't take my word for it. I know O is something, either universal donor or universal recipient, one of the two. But yeah, if you've got O positive blood, the Red Cross is looking for you. So head on over there, get your cookie and your juice and give some blood and help somebody. It's not a bad thing to do. Unless you're a sissy like me who doesn't like needles. I don't like needles. So that was the breaking news. Now, like again, there's Alexandra just jumps right on. That's cool.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. Good to see you. Good to be here with you.
Haven't seen you in a while.
I know. I've been traveling. It's been crazy.
How's Tim doing in his campaign? How's that going?
Thank God. He won his primary. He's the Republican nominee. He's very fortunate. He lives in a very hardcore Republican MAGA district.
Yeah, he does.
And it's his to win. It really is. The person that's running against him is a Black Muslim. She goes by Arkia Wade, but her real last name is Jamaluddin, which people are like, what? And she hides it. She doesn't tell people that she's Jamaluddin. So it's a huge
That's the sound
problem.
I make when I gargle. Halloween.
So, we're slowly kind of telling the constituents and telling, the big donors that, you got to vote for Tim, you got to support Tim, you got to give him the money, because if not, the opposite is much worse.
Oh yeah, definitely. Did he have any problems with the primaries? Or was it a breeze?
Well, it's interesting because he ran against this frickin' rhino that, of course, the rhino's pushed. And I'm laughing because, they're trying to push a rhino in a very hardcore Republican district. And his opponent is a big fan of Pete Buttigieg. He actually supports Pete Buttigieg running for president in 2028, which is crazy. And the guy supports Dr. Fauci. He supported the Unselect Committee. He supported all of Trump's haters and supported all the rhinos in the Trump administration from 2016. So I just laugh at the whole thing. He supports mail-in ballots. He supports drop boxes and all this crap. And the Republican Party literally tried to throw the kitchen sink at Tim to the point where his old Central Committee censored him, and Tim was a private citizen, which is illegal.
I read about that. Yeah.
under the Central Committee bylaws. So now that he's won, they don't know what to do. Like the Republicans are scrambling. The rhinos are like, crap, I guess we have to support him. I guess we have to back him. Some rhino Republicans are actually supporting his opponent, and which is like weird because I thought they were America First, Republican First, and they're supporting a Democrat, but okay, just because they hate Tim. But the numbers look really good for Tim. We just did the numbers today. He's up 17% above the opponent. So, I mean, he's going to blow her out of the water. But we aren't taking anything for granted. She's got DNC. She'll have DNC money behind her. She'll have Westmore, Julian Jones behind her. She's doing a race-based election. She's having an event August 7th called hashtag Giving Back Black or Giving Black.
And I'm like,
yeah, I'm like, what is this? I'm like, imagine if we had an event called hashtag Giving Back White or something like that. Like we'd be home, literally. We'd be sabotaging the Democrats. But for some reason, it's okay that she's going to this like Giving Black Matter, type of event. And she has some other Black Democrats that are doing her bidding for her. And they're having a Black town hall. Like they literally call it the Black town hall. And it's like, why does it have to be about race? Like she has to win over white constituents. Like the majority of the people in Dundalk are white, men and women. So in my opinion, she doesn't really want to win. In my opinion, she's just kind of doing what the Democrats are telling her to do, what Julian Jones and Wes Moore telling her to do. But we'll see. Like I said, we're not taking her for granted. But Tim is leading in the polls, and Tim is picked to win this seat.
Well, that's good. I like Tim. He's a smart dude.
Me too.
He's got a gray head of hair. It's awesome.
I told him to grow his hair. That's why.
Like him and Justin Murphy with that.
Oh my God, I know.
It's crazy. But that's good to know that he's ahead. That's makes things a little better for the people out there. I hope they vote for him and bring him in, because if not, they're idiots.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Okay. Let's get into this. Let me find out where we're at. So we did have a guest, but timing was off and all that kind of crap. We'll try to get him back on, or Alexandra will have him on his show, but he is not here. And he didn't ghost us. It's not that. I don't want people thinking he's being a jerk. He just, timing was off and stuff happens.
Yeah, he forgot to check his spam and he felt really bad. Always check your spam folder. You never know what's going to happen in your spam folder.
Could be $1 million check waiting in there. You better get it out. So let's get into. Oh, we got to take that out because it's just us. It's just us, baby.
Love it.
Okay. So the first segment is just pretty much like a grab bag of things that caught my eye. They're all big news. It's not like it's gonna be like, what? I didn't hear about that. So the first one's about all the wildfires that are going on everywhere. I think this is a clip from Washington State, and it's kind of amazing in a crazy, horrific way. But this is what's going on there, and then we'll kind of talk about it.
This is the scene from Lake Stevens, Washington this evening, watching a wildfire burn 65 miles east near Lake Wenatchee. This is the Little Giant Fire, which is burning about 5 miles to the northeast of Lake Wenatchee right now, and is already over 10,000 acres. This evening, it was burning so hot that the wildfire smoke plume was producing what is known as a pyrocumulus cloud. This time lapse was shot over the course of about 45 minutes.
So there's that. That was kind of, like I said, interesting in a horrific way, because that's a lot of fire going on. And they were 65 miles away from it. That's even crazier. I mean, that's a lot of smoke for being seeing a lot of smoke from 65 miles away. Was it last week when the haze was down here, the smoke from the Canadian wildfires?
Oh my! Well, I was in Ohio at the time, and I got it very bad. And people, to the point where if they breathed it in just a little bit, it was very, very, very bad. And I have a very naturopath acupuncturist, and he told me to heavily detox. And they were actually telling people to put on their masks here because it was really, really bad. I didn't put my mask on, but I remember I was at an event with my friend Laura Cardozo-Moore, and she was speaking, and like her vocal folds were closing because of the smoke. And then I had to sing, and I was singing like "God Bless America" and the Israeli national anthem Hatikva. And I sing, Seth, because I've sung for you in your events. Like my vocal cords like literally closed as I'm about to hit the high note because I didn't breathe it in. But you smell it, and it goes right into the lungs, and it can actually affect you long term.
That's crazy. Yeah, I imagine it was worse up there because it was not so bad here, but it was coming down that way.
Yeah, because we're closer to Canada. Because I'm closer to Canada where I am.
Lucky you.
No, it's cold. It's colder here. It sucks.
And let me see. I think there's like 800 fires in the U.S. right now. Let me find out where I got my notes on that one. Because I thought when I read how much there was, I was like, wow, that's not good. Not it. See, I'm not very organized.
I just want to say shout out to my friend Donald Willinger. Thank you so much for being loyal to us and for commenting. We really appreciate it, Donald.
He's a cool dude. Never met him, but he seems pretty cool.
I never met him either, but he's another fellow of the tribe, Jewish guy in Texas.
Tribesman.
Yep, tribesman. Yeah, my motto should be "Give a Jew a chance." I agree.
There are fires from my notes I got here: Oregon, California, and Minnesota. I think the biggest one is in Oregon or Washington. I'm sorry, Washington, Oregon, California, and Minnesota. I think the biggest fire is in Washington. And Oregon has been burning around the banks of a river. Hundreds of acres have gone. It's not good. And then we have in Canada, there's like 800 and some odd wildfires burning right now. And I think they're starting to get some of them under control. And of course, everybody's yelling it's all because of climate change. It's because of climate change. I don't know how climate change would start a fire.
Right.
I don't understand that. I think it's either natural cause like lightning or something like that, or maybe somebody set them because that's happened before. People purposely set them. What do you think? You think it was climate change? Do you think it was natural? Do you think somebody purposely set them?
For the one that happened in Canada, I believe that this was natural causes. I really do. Just because of the massive amounts of the smell of burning fire, meaning I don't know. For some reason, I just get the vibe that this was natural causes. This was God involved here. The ones that happened in California were definitely created by man. It was definitely man-made. And there was reports coming out that it was man-made. And of course, Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, they knew it was man-made. Karen Bass was in another country at the time hearing about this and decided just to continue staying and vacationing. She didn't come back till after the fact. Gavin Newsom, he waited until it got so late. And of course, there was issues with trying to get water to dump down in dump into the reservoirs and the aquifers. Pride and others that completely lost these, regardless of political party. They've turned and they support Donald Trump because they see what Gavin Newsom did. Gavin Newsom didn't care about them. And these are like multi-million-dollar homes in the Palisades. It's a beautiful area. Yeah. So, I mean, for Spencer Pratt and all these celebrities to turn on Gavin Newsom and to be like this, and James Wood. I mean, James Wood's always been a Republican. He's great, but it's just disgusting to see the demise of California. But yeah, California, I believe, was man-made. What happened in Canada, I believe, was not. It was an accident, in my opinion.
And you saw the fires in Europe too. Spain and France, I think, have got massive wildfires going too.
Yep, that I believe is actually man-made. I believe that. I don't believe those are accidents.
Yeah, I think
much anti-Semitism in Spain and Europe, and there's been a lot of looting, and their economies are crap because the taxes are very high because they go by the euro. A lot of those people don't have jobs. I believe that there's a lot of I know for a fact there's a lot of Islamic terrorism in Spain and other countries. And in Germany, they just had like an anti-Semitic attack again.
Oh, yeah.
So I wholeheartedly believe that in Europe, those are man-made, in my opinion.
Yeah, talking about Germany, the guy they caught, I can't remember his name, but the German.
Some Abdul, I think his name was Abdul, of course. It's
Bailout
always an Abdul, Mohammed, Mahmoud, Jamaluddin, Abdel Assayad, Khomeini. You know, you got to get about, you know.
Like you're clearing your throat out.
Yeah, like you're clearing your throat, like massive phlegm, you know.
But Germany was pretty quick to call it a terrorist act. They didn't wait around. They didn't mull it over. They said, hey, this is an act of terrorism, as opposed to this country that takes months before they say anything.
Yeah.
Why do you think they're so quick?
Go ahead, sorry.
Why do you think they're so quick to do that over there as opposed to us?
Well, they have new leadership over there in Germany. What we're finding with Trump in power is that a lot of these old chancellors and prime ministers are actually getting ousted by their own parties. They're not popular anymore. And that's because of Trump. Because Chancellor Merkel, she was a big lib, and the anti-Semitism was heavily on the rise in Germany. Now they have a new chancellor who's cracking down. It first started with Javier Milei in Argentina, and you see a lot of South American prime ministers and presidents, as well as Central American prime ministers and presidents that are stepping up in support of Israel, the Jewish people, and support of their own people. But again, you still have those, those countries that give a lot of money to the EU. And those are the ones that, President Trump is calling on to pull them out of NATO or just don't do business with them, such as Spain and others. And then you have, Belgium, which is heavily anti-Semitic, and they heavily work with the EU. So any country that is heavily anti-Semitic that works with the EU, those are the ones you really have to be, you have to call them out and also hold them accountable. But the fact that they got rid of the prime minister of the UK recently tells you one thing, that this move towards working with terrorists, having high anti-Semitism in your country is not popular. It's not popular around the world or around the country.
Yeah, it's weird over there. Like half of it's good, half of it's bad. Then they switch to who's good and who's bad, and it switches back again. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm actually surprised that I guess Germany and Austria even put up with anti-Semitism a little, just because of their history. You figure they'd be the first ones to start stomping it out and screaming and yelling about it. But they kind of, like you said, with their old leadership, they kind of were hesitant about saying anything, which I think is kind of stupid. Like I said, given their history, you figure they'd be the first ones out in front talking about, hey, we need to stop doing this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wholeheartedly idiots, in America that are spewing free Palestine and queers for Palestine and all that crap. And I just saw, and this is actually in a different country, this is in Mexico. The Mexican president is Jewish.
I know.
But yet she supports Palestine as a state. Now, please tell me, and Seth, you and I have talked about this, where is there Palestine on a map? I mean, it doesn't exist. But you have the president of Mexico who's Jewish. There's a lot of Jewish people that live in Mexico, wealthy Jewish people that live in Mexico. And she's standing, holding up a Palestinian flag, supporting Palestine as a state. It makes me so ill. It's disgusting.
I think she's doing it because Trump is pro-Israel.
Probably.
That's what I think. We're neighbors, so she's just trying to be contrary. Like, if you like them, I like these people.
Yeah.
She's never impressed me as a very intelligent person. The few times she's been on the news and I've heard her speak, she doesn't come across as like, hey, she's a good leader. She comes across as, hey, that's Mexico. You know?
Yeah. And look at the new leader in Canada. He's worse than Trudeau. I mean, Trudeau is disgusting because he's like dating Katy Perry. And she's like, oh my God, Trudeau is like the love of my life. I'm so happy I'm dating a male version of myself. Oh my God, can I paint his eyebrows back? I mean, literally, she kissed a girl and she liked it. I mean, seriously, because the guy looks like a woman. I wouldn't be surprised if he tucks it under at night. But I mean... but I mean, like, you went from like Trudeau to someone even worse. Like, my God, like, geez, like Russell Brand, I did not like him when he was married to Katy Perry, but to his credit, he was like, I like Katy Perry, but man, like, how could she be with Trudeau after being with me? Damn.
Yeah, it's kind of a completely different path there, those two.
Oh my God, it's so weird. That relationship is just so weird. It's like, and he was like in her music video recently. It's like so weird because he doesn't have a job. He's out of a job.
That's right.
He's on his retirement plan. It's like,
he was definitely a beta male. Definitely.
Oh my God, total beta male. Oh my God. Ugh. His ex-wife dodged a bullet with that one. Jeez.
She's probably happy.
Oh, she's very happy. Very happy. Ugh.
All right, let's get to the next one here. Let me find out where we were. So here we go with this one.
Let's start with Iran's surprise attack on U.S. forces. What are we learning? Well, this took place around 5:45 this evening, CENTCOM says, and as you pointed out, was meant to be a surprise attack on U.S. forces with ballistic missiles, we believe, fired at U.S. bases in Jordan, although at this hour that's not yet been confirmed. This would mark the most significant Iranian aggression in several days after what was almost 2 straight weeks of fighting, then a couple of days of quiet, which President Trump had said was to give space for negotiations. At least some forces in Iran apparently unsatisfied with that space, launching this new attack. This could throw us right back to this muddy, uncertain place we've been in this war over the last couple of weeks, where at some level discussions are still going on, but the two combatants are lobbing missiles at one another. Chloe, it just remains incredibly difficult to see how the war ends.
I kind of touched on this during breaking news. Anytime Iran's in a conflict with anybody, but I'll use us for an example. Fighting. We start kicking their ass. Timeout. And we go, okay, we'll give you timeout. And then all of a sudden they start attacking us again. And they go, timeout. And we go, okay. And then they start attacking us again. My personal opinion is that we need to stop giving them ceasefires. No, we're not stopping. We're going to keep going until we destroy the entire regime, because this happens time and time again. We stop, you rearm, you resupply, you figure out new tactics, and you attack us, or whoever it is you decided to attack. The only reason this is so muddy and uncertain is because we've allowed it to be. We could have ended this war in 2 weeks if we wanted to. We could have bombed them with the Navy and the Air Force and done this in 2 weeks, but we don't want to. And this is where me and Trump have kind of parted ways. I don't know why he's playing games. This is what costs so much money. End it. Be done with them. Destroy them. And let's move on. Give it back to the Iranian people. Let them make the decision on their own government. And we need to get the hell out now. We can't keep doing this patty cake with them. That's just my opinion. What do you think?
Well, as you know, President Trump is a deal maker. He's a huge deal maker. And I think what he was trying to do is he was trying to tap into something that has not been tapped in 47 years, because Jimmy Carter really screwed the relationship between the United States and Iran. And I've said this to a lot of people, there's a lot behind the scenes that we don't know. I know that Israel and the United States are working in tandem together to take out the Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran, to take out the regime. They are hoping to God that the Iranian people will take back their country, like they did in Afghanistan and so forth, and Iraq. Well, actually, it's more Iraq than Afghanistan. The issue is that you have, and President Trump is finding this out. I think he always knew, but he's letting the American people know, is that we're dealing with idiots that want to obtain power, but they have no power right now. We have taken out their biggest nuclear power plants. We've demolished some of the heads of Iran. We've demolished the heads of Hezbollah. When I say we, I mean Israel. We've demolished the heads of Gaza. What more does the Iranian people, what more can the Iranian Ayatollah try to negotiate with? They have nothing on the table. There's the cards are not stacked for them. They're stacked against them. So that's where President Trump has come. That's his mindset. Now he's like, look, these idiots know that they're done. They know they don't have any power. And I warn them, if they don't do what we say, we're just going to keep coming and coming and coming and taking and taking and taking. Let's put so much pressure on them that they'll finally yield and bend and take a knee. Will that happen? We're not seeing it now. Will that ever happen? It's, as you know, in the Middle East, Seth, it's very hard to give up power. But the point is that the Iranian Ayatollah has no power right now. They have no power. President Trump has kicked them under the table. They have no power. They're weak in the knees. But the issue is that the Iranian people, they're still nervous. They're still scared. They're afraid to go against the Ayatollah, just like the, quote, Palestinian people. Even though the majority of them voted for Hamas, they're still afraid to go against Hamas. That's why they haven't really, fully come out and said, we don't support Hamas anymore. But it's a difficult situation, because we're dealing with people that are afraid to give up their power. They're afraid to give it to Reza Pahlavi, because they know that once they give it to Reza, guess what? Their terrorist organization is exposed and gone. They'll all go to jail or probably be dead. They know that Israel will continue to go after them and continue to fight them and continue to take them out, which they should, because Israel has the right to defend themselves. And again, President Trump said, our goal is to make sure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. That's why he keeps pummeling and pummeling and pummeling and pummeling him. And Pete Hegseth, I know, is working with Netanyahu behind the scenes as well. I know our naval ships are working behind the scenes with the Israeli naval ships as well. I know that for a fact. And I also, Netanyahu and Trump are looking at the vision of America. They're looking at the vision of the world, because these men are getting older. They know they're not going to live forever. And we have an election coming up in Israel. And of course, they want to try to get Netanyahu out. Netanyahu and what Trump are doing are putting themselves in place so that when they perish or when they're done with office, that they have put something in place, solidly in place, that nobody can break. That if a Democrat comes in, they can't break a treaty, they can't break an agreement, they can't break any of this. That's why they're trying. That's why Netanyahu came to America. He's in America now. He came on Monday night with not only to pay respects for Lindsey Graham, but also to negotiate with the United States and other countries around to expand the Abraham Accords. That's what it's all about. It's about expansion of the Abraham Accords. Not one of those countries has broken the treaty since they signed the Abraham Accords. I know Saudi Arabia is next in line. So that's what it's kind of all about. So President Trump doesn't really want to get out of this war until he's put them not just on their knees, but really on their knees, and also have gotten more Arab countries to sign into the Abraham Accords.
I mean, I agree with you, and I hope that's what he's doing, but we can't keep playing this. Let's take a break. Oh, they're attacking us. Let's attack. Oh, okay, let's take a break. Oh, no, wait, ceasefire. Oh, they're attacking us again.
Well, I can tell you there's going to be no more ceasefires. The president already said no more ceasefires. We're done with them. F them. And he said it in press conferences too. He said, I'm done with these a-holes. I can't negotiate with them. They don't want to, they don't want to come to the table. They don't want to negotiate. They think they have power. They don't have any power. I'm effing done with them. And we're just going to keep pummeling them and pummeling them and pummeling them. And they're going to feel the wrath of America like they've never felt it before.
Good.
The issue is that, majority of Americans have not served in the military. They're not mandated to serve in the military. They're not, like I talked to a rabbi about this past weekend. They're not ready for this. Americans themselves are not prepared for this. They're not prepared to fight. They're not prepared to stand up. That's why a lot of them want it over. You're a military guy, a Navy guy, actually, Seth. So you understand this a little bit better than most. The average American, it just doesn't, we're very spoiled. I hate to say it, we're very spoiled, and we're not used to going to war like this. And that's why a lot of Americans want us to stop, because we're not Israel. We're not used to fighting wars every week. We're not used to going into a bomb shelter every 2 weeks. We're just not used to it,
True.
Unless you've served like you, or unless you've actually fought in a war, we're not prepared for this. And that's why a lot of Americans want it over.
Yeah. I think we are spoiled. I don't think people do, like you said, realize you just can't start something and stop in the middle. Okay, we're done, we're leaving, and not have any accomplished anything.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you, Seth, that we should have completely demolished the Ayatollahs immediately. I completely agree with you on that. I think we should have taken them all out. Just like we should have taken all of Hamas out right away, and Hezbollah and everybody. I agree with you on that 100%.
And that's the other issue with Iran. It's not just them. They've got Hezbollah and the Houthis and all. They financially support them.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And Qatar and all that crap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So people don't realize that. Yeah, just because we're beating Iran, and they go, well, we're still losing. Well, yeah, because there's two other factions we have to worry about, because that's who they support financially, Iran.
But I can tell you we're not losing, because we have lowered the terrorist threats in Yemen. We have lowered the terrorist threats with the Taliban. We've lowered the terrorist threats with Islamic Jihad, just like Trump did in 2016 and 2017, 2018. So we're actually doing pretty good. It's just I agree with you, stop with the ceasefires, go in there, knock them all out, kill them all out. So we don't have to, think about them in 5 years or 10 years from now.
Yeah, because if we don't finish it now, it's going to happen again. History shows that.
It repeats itself.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Is it my man? Yeah, it's my man.
Under the advice of my attorneys, I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions. Thank you.
And I've got one more video with Joey Jerkoff.
Mr. Fauci, do you know who David Shurtler is?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
All right, let me tell you who David Schertler is for the audience, because he was ejected by the chairman. He's a high-profile criminal attorney. He's represented some really great people, like Senator Bob Menendez. Maybe that's somebody who my Democrat colleagues may remember took gold bars as bribes from the Egyptians. And there's an article here in the Washington Free Beacon that talks about why you would hire a guy like David Schertler. And the comment is, if you're in deep shit, that's who you call. Do you feel like you're in deep shit?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Clearly, what you think today is that somehow you're above reproach. Somehow you feel like you don't need to be treated like a normal American.
Now, here's some facts about Fauci in case you've lived in a tree and don't know who he is. Fauci has advised 7 U.S. presidents over decades on major outbreaks like HIV, Ebola, and COVID-19. He became widely known as the nation's chief medical advisor and explainer during the coronavirus pandemic, and he officially stepped down from his government position at the end of 2022. So he's been around a while. He's more of a politician than anything else at this point, I think. And I think the big issue was gain of function. When they found out that he had asked or was involved with gain of function, which is basically chemical or biological warfare, is what that means. They're studying something to see if they can weaponize it. And he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar when it came to coronavirus. Among other things, like what? Wear a mask, get the shot, the boosters, social distancing, shut everything down.
He also, sorry to interrupt you, he also was completely against using real remedies that have been out on the market for 50 plus years, like ivermectin, which got the Nobel Peace Prize in 2015, hydroxychloroquine, which is known as a parasitic dewormer, but also it's known to combat the flu and to combat certain infections. And he actually told the doctor, the hospitals, not to administer ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine to COVID-19 positive patients. He pushed something called remdesivir and Paxlovid, which were brand new drugs that had massive side effects to people. Remdesivir is known to kill your kidneys and your lungs. Remdesivir killed my grandfather, my World War II grandfather, who should be alive today. He killed many lives. And I blame the hospitals for allowing Dr. Fauci to kill their patients, because doctors are supposed to save lives. They're not God. They're supposed to save lives. So what Dr. Fauci did, not only to the elderly, but to the youth and to newborns.
Yeah.
I mean, they called him the Dr. Mengele of the 20th century. I mean, I pivot that to you, Seth. I don't know if I would go that far.
No, I don't.
No, I wouldn't go that far. But Dr. Fauci knew that these vaccines were going to cause massive side effects for people, especially young people, especially young men ages 18 to 35, where now they are going to cardiologists and finding out they have permanent myocarditis, which is permanent heart disease and brain trauma. And women are getting blood clots now and all of this crap. It's a real problem. And the fertility rates are very low, and it's very hard to have a baby because of the effects of the vaccine. It can actually hurt fertility as well. And then they force pregnant women to get the vaccine, which is ridiculous, because when you're pregnant, you're not supposed to take it you're not supposed to take anything. You're supposed to just take an Advil, but put a foreign object in a pregnant woman. And then what really pissed me off is the no jab, no job crap. That people, if they work for the federal government, the military, or even just, regular everyday jobs, if they did not take the jab, they were fired, which is disgusting.
Yeah,
I mean, it caused a lot of people's livelihoods as well.
Well, a lot of those people are getting their jobs back plus back pay now. A lot of courts are going, yeah, you can't do that. You need to pay these people, which is, okay, but it's the taxpayers who are paying them, so that kind of ticks me off. It should come out of the politician's pocket, but I can understand why they're getting paid. They shouldn't have been fired in the first place.
But think about it. It's taking 6 years, 6 years for those people to get their lives back on track. The military, the people were discharged from the military, with no pay.
Nope.
Now they're just coming back 6 years later. So what did the military guys do for 6 years? Work at a Kmart, work at Publix, work at Home Depot?
True.
I mean, they're not getting the salaries that they were getting. If you were a commander or a chief, oh my God.
Yeah, you lost a lot of money.
Yeah, you lost a lot of money. Police officers, firefighters, nurses, doctors, lawyer, unless you worked for yourself, you were required and mandated to take the job. I was a professional opera singer. I literally lost my international career because I decided not to take the jobs of death. No opera company would hire me unless I took 50 million jabs or whatever the maximum was. It's disgusting. I call them the jabs. But it's disgusting. And then, of course, in the dating scene, I was dating at the time or trying to date at the time. You couldn't because, we weren't allowed to kiss guys, or girls weren't allowed to kiss guys. Guys were not allowed to kiss girls because we were all afraid that we were going to get this freaking COVID thing. And then everything was online dating. And then there was, some people out there that wouldn't date you unless you were vaccinated. And then it broke families apart. Some families would not see each other if their children or their grandchildren weren't vaccinated, which is really sad. And that is the doing of Dr. Fauci. That's why I don't understand why he wasn't put in handcuffs today. He was subpoenaed. He should have answered every question. The fact he had his 50 million attorneys there and pled the fifth and all that crap. I mean, the guy was pardoned, he was pardoned. When you are pardoned, you're pardoned of a crime. But it was so funny. They pardoned him, but they didn't convict him of anything. Isn't that funny?
That's weird.
So illegal what they did. So illegal. That's why I say to President Trump, reverse the pardon. Get rid of the pardon.
I mean, I understand that the Fifth Amendment is your right. That's fine and dandy. But whenever I think of the Fifth Amendment being used, it's always like mafia people, mass murderers, never like a doctor. I plead the Fifth. Well, if you didn't do anything wrong, why don't you just say it?
Exactly. My favorite exchange was Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri. He said to Dr. Fauci, he's like, well, let's just make it easy. Can you tell me what color's the carpet? What color's your tie? How many people are in this room? And oh my God, Dr. Fauci still then said, I plead the Fifth. He wouldn't even answer what color the carpet was because his attorney said, don't answer anything. Oh my God. And he was like shaking, as he's testifying, shaking. Is that a side effect of the vaccine or was he nervous? And then, the funny thing was one of his attorneys was sitting next to him, and Senator Rand Paul said, we told you the rules. Your attorney's not supposed to say anything. He keeps saying anything. We're going to get him the F out of here. And then they finally kicked it.
Ejected,
ejected him out. Oh, my God. It was the funniest thing. And then what really was interesting by Senator Bernie Moreno, who you played, he's the senator here in Ohio. He reminded me of you, Seth. He was cursing the whole time. It was great. He said the F word. He must be listening to us, Seth. He must be listening to our show. But no, what was interesting with him is that, he asked the audience, he said, please stand up if your lives have been destroyed from the vaccine, if you were called a racist for calling out the vaccine. And all these people stood up, including Laura Ingraham. Laura Ingraham was right behind Dr. Fauci, and she stood up. And Bernie Moreno said, Dr. Fauci did ask him a question. He said, can you turn around and look at the people that you affected? He wouldn't even turn around for that. He didn't care. I don't know. I guess he thought he was getting set up, gotcha questions, whatever. But the fact he wouldn't even turn around to look and see what lives he destroyed. Yeah, he doesn't want to hold himself accountable. He thinks what he did was great.
Well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
I just want to say that, I made sure when my grandfather died that he didn't die a COVID death. That was the biggest thing that I could have done for my grandfather. I did save his life from COVID. I give credit to my governor, Ron DeSantis, my lieutenant governor at the time, Jeanette Nunez, and my parents for standing up and for fighting for my grandfather's life so that he didn't die of COVID. He died of untreated bilateral pneumonia because the hospital would not give my grandfather antibiotics until a week after he had pneumonia. And they didn't give him strong antibiotics. They gave him pardon my language, amoxicillin, which they should have given doxycycline. The doctors would not allow my mother to get ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine for my grandfather, which probably would have saved his life. And because of that, my grandfather, will never see me have children and never see me get married and so forth. And it's very, very sad. But I do again, thank my governor of Florida and Jeanette Nunez and so forth for saving my grandfather from COVID and making sure that he wasn't a COVID death, because that was the biggest thing of all, is I did not want him to be labeled a COVID death on his death certificate.
Right. I can understand that.
Because they get it more, as you know, they got more money.
Yes.
Every time they labeled you a COVID death, Dr. Fauci got more money.
Yep. And I never got the shot or the booster.
Yeah, I didn't get anything. I didn't get nothing, no shots, no boosters, nothing. This was my booster. My pinky.
Let's get to the next. This is another interesting video.
A number of people who are survivors of 9/11 are calling on you not to go to 9/11 memorial services. I wonder how you feel about the fact that they're trying to keep you away.
I will proudly honor the families, the survivors, the first responders forever impacted by that horrific terror attack by standing alongside them at this year's 9/11 commemoration, reaffirming that we will never forget the solemn day felt by all of us who call this city home, and frankly, by all of us who call this country home.
Here's my opinion on this. I read somewhere, I think 23,000 people have signed the petition to keep him out, or to ask him not to show up. 3,000 people were killed at Ground Zero. So you figure so you got like 9,000 people immediately affected. 23,000 people have asked him not to come. If the families of the victims of 9/11 don't want him there, he should not be there. End of discussion. It's about them. It's not about him or what he thinks or what he wants. It's about them. If they said no, you don't go. I think he's being an asshole. And I hope when he goes there that he's given the cold shoulder. Hope he's not acknowledged. I hope nobody talks to him. I hope nobody speaks to him. It's not about him. And a lot of politicians make things about them. Like, I'm going to be there to show nobody cares. You've been asked not to come. But that's just me. I don't think he should be there. He's been asked not to come.
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. And he should be ashamed of himself. I mean, they have a guy in New Jersey that's running for Congress that was responsible or the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks. That's who the Democrats are pushing forward. They have this freaking anti-Semite, anti-America guy named Abdul al-Sayed, who's running for senator of Michigan. They have Rashida Tlaib, who actually defended Mondami and thought he was great. And they have AOC, of course, of New York, and she defends Mondami, and she supported Graham Plattner, and she's supporting this Abdul al-Sayed, who hate America, and they support Sharia law and Islamic terrorism. Anybody that doesn't support Americans, anybody that doesn't support the people and their families should not be attending this ceremony.
No, they shouldn't be in politics if they don't like the country.
I agree.
Serve.
I agree. But AOC shouldn't be there. Mondami should definitely not be there.
Nope.
And anybody else, let's say Ilhan Omar, any let's say nominee, Democrat nominee, or even Republican nominee who does not support these families and who does not support our country and who will not stand to memorialize these people should not even be in our country and should not show up.
I think it should be by invite only.
I agree with you there.
No matter who you are, unless you're invited, you cannot be there. I think that'd make things so much easier.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree, 100%. And I remember, when John McCain died, there was controversy between, Donald Trump and John McCain. And they asked President Trump, do not come to my father. Meghan McCain said, please don't come to my father's funeral. And he respected that. He didn't show up. And actually, it bode better for him that he didn't show up. Because oh my God, the eulogy speeches that they gave was so anti-Trump.
Yeah, it was kind of...
It wasn't good at all. Yeah, it was very anti-Trump, and that's why they didn't want him to show up, because they wanted to unfortunately, they wanted to use the time, a funeral, to bash President Trump.
Yeah, I think if he's truly I want to support and stand with, then you don't go. Show that you support them by listening to what they're telling you. I don't care if it's one family that says they don't want you there. You don't go. I
guess he feels because he's the mayor, he's obligated to go.
But they've released him from his obligation.
Right.
When the 23,000 people signed the petition saying we don't want you there, you're released from your obligation.
Yep. Yeah,
no
bring
one's going
in.
to think anything less of you.
Yep, bring in former Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Bring him in there. He'll definitely be there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he'll be there.
He'll be there because he
I wonder
was.
if Bush Jr. will be there.
Yeah, Bush. I think he's going to be. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. I assume he's going to be there. I don't know if Hillary Clinton may be there. She may show up. She was there when she ran for president. We'll see. Let's see if Kamala Harris will be there.
She can't find it. She'll be busy.
I can't remember if President Trump if he's going to be in New York or if he's going to be in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. I'm not sure yet.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think
They
Shanksville
flip a coin. They flip a coin. I feel like he's going to be in New York this year. I'm not sure.
I was going to say, because I don't think Shanksville gets the respect it should either. I don't think many people remember that. That's like the second. Oh yeah, what about that place?
I agree.
New York jumps up.
But I think President Trump was there last year, so I think he goes there every other year. Because him and Vance are never in the same place, so they flip a coin. It's either Vance is in Shanksville or he's in New York. They just flip a coin. Also, to do with safety and security.
Oh yeah.
Personally, I don't know if I would have President Trump in New York at this time because of the Islamic jihadists that are over there and anti-Semitism over there. So they have to make sure that it's high security for President Trump before he even goes anywhere, honestly.
True. Might be easier to do Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
All right, so let's take a break and pay some bills, and then we'll be back.
Awesome.
Maybe. Let's go.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
America's Pulse Network. During this episode of The Pulse, the host looks forward to your comments. If you like what the APN's The Pulse podcast talks about, then please share The Pulse with others.
We're back.
Hello.
So, like I said, usually we have Damon with us, Damon Galdo, but he's running for Congress in District 1 in New Jersey. He's had some appearances tonight, so he couldn't make it. And then the based mother, Elena Barbera, is usually here, but she's helping Damon run for Congress in New Jersey. So she's busy tonight getting things together for him to get his name out there. Alexandra's usually helping Tim Faisenbaker run in Baltimore County, but I guess she had the night off, so we have her. And then you got me, of course, who's like a bad case of the cold, just doesn't go away. Like cheap luggage. You never can get rid of it. And I do the conservative corner. Alexandra does All In. And then Damon Galdo does the Jersey Shore. And then we have New Jersey State House Watch.
Yeah.
Jack and Constance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're on every other Thursday?
No. They're on every second and fourth Tuesday of the month.
And your show's on when you're not busy. When does your show?
So my show is normally every first and third Tuesday of the month and every Thursday.
And then mine is one Sunday a month while I'm dealing with some issues. I usually do the last Sunday of the month. And then, of course, we all try to get together for the Pulse. But as I said, for the next couple of months, it's probably be kind of weird, hit or miss with how many people we have and who can be here because everybody's busy.
We're on campaign mode.
Yeah, campaign mode. And most of the people who are running in the tri-state area have been on the Pulse. Damon Galdo, Justin Murphy, Tim Faisenbaker. And there's been a couple other people I can't remember off the top of my head, but they've all been on the Pulse. They've hosted. I mean, Tim used to help host the Pulse before he got all bougie on us and couldn't be here. So yeah, so the Pulse is obviously the place to be if you want to run for office because you get known.
Yeah, and you become the Republican nominee. I mean, Justin had a big primary. I think there was like 5 or 6 people in that primary,
Yep.
and he won. And then Tim was 1 out of 4 people. He won that primary.
Yeah.
Damon was fortunate. He won unopposed.
Yep.
But I mean, hopefully he'll win the general. I mean, hey, thank God, I'd say our network has given people a lot of good luck.
Yeah. And like I've said before, and I'll keep saying, is always support the most conservative candidate on the ticket you can find.
And give money directly to the candidate, not the club, the RNC, the state party. Screw them. You have to give directly to the person, because when you give to the person, they directly get the money. If you give it to the club, they lie to you and they say, "Oh yeah, don't worry, we'll make sure that the candidate gets money." Bull crap. They take that money for themselves, they hoard it, and they decide who they want to give money to. And it may not be your candidate. FYI.
And people go, "Well, how do you know that?" Well, the case in point that I like to reference back to is in Maryland when Dan Cox ran the first time for governor. The entire Republican Party was against him and didn't support him. So if people had given them money, like, "Hey, I want Dan Cox to win, here's $500. He never got the money. As a matter of fact, some of the Republican candidates in Maryland supported Wes Moore. They gave him money from their campaign to run.
Including Larry Hogan.
And Larry Hogan. Yeah, that's another dickhead. But yeah, Alexandra's right. If you have a candidate you like, give directly to them. Don't give it to the party, because it'll never get there.
Same thing with Donald Trump. Like when Donald Trump ran for president, I gave directly to his PAC because I knew the money was going directly to him. I didn't give it to Republican Club. I did not give it to the RNC or the NRCC or the NRSC. I gave it directly to the Save America PAC because I know that was Trump's PAC. It went directly to Trump. And actually, I went to an event with my governor, Ron DeSantis, and my father and we handed the check to Ron. We gave it directly to him. We put it right here in his pocket because we wanted to make sure that he got it. And he got it. And he gave us a big thank you note.
And a lot of people are like, "Well, I can't give much." Well, you don't have to give much. $5 is good. $10. Or if you can, give them your time. Go door knocking. Do things like that for your candidate. Help them. I know in Frederick County, our last election, and I can't speak for everybody, but our Republican turnout in Frederick was 15.6%. That is horrible. That's horrible. We can't depend on our neighbors to, I don't need to go. My neighbor's going to vote. No. Act like you're the only person that's going to vote that day and get off your ass. Take the 10 minutes it takes to vote and go vote.
Correct.
Simple. We can't depend on everybody else because obviously 15.6% where I live is a joke. That's embarrassing.
I can tell you in Baltimore County, we had the lowest Republican turnout in the entire county. Now, I can tell you, Tim Fazenbaker, his district, the Republicans had the highest turnout.
Good.
But, we're hoping to get other Republican county councilmen and so forth. And if they have low Republican turnout, we're going to have barely any Republicans on the county council. It'll be 6 Democrats, 3 Republicans, if we're lucky. And that's what we don't want. So Republicans have got to get out, especially for the general. I know it's not a presidential election, but gubernatorial races are important. Your municipality races are important because these are state races. These state legislators, they're controlling the legislation in your state. Somebody asked me, why don't you sue Sarasota Memorial Hospital in Florida? I would love to, but the state legislators put horrible bills into place so that the doctors, they don't feel they need medical malpractice insurance because they get off scot-free. And the medical malpractice laws in Florida are so horrific that if you try to sue them or if you try to sue the hospital, you get absolutely nothing. And that has to do with your state legislators. You have to be able to elect proper people so that you can get things done for yourself, for the county, for the district that you live in. I used to work on federal races all the time. You say, federal is so important because Congress passes the laws federally. But what we're finding is that, especially with the Mondamis of the world, that state and local level races are so important. Politics is local. It is so true. So these races, these gubernatorial races, these state local races, these school board races are so important because you don't want a Mondami being a mayor of your city and then eventually he becomes a congressman, because that's what's going to happen. That happened in Maryland with Johnny Oshefsky. Started as a freaking delegate, a state delegate, then ended up as county executive, and now he's a freaking congressman. and he's really screwing things up, and he's a freaking socialist.
Yeah,
so that's why it's so important, guys, to get out in November. November 3rd is the election date. I don't care what your issue is. Even if you're bleeding or dying, Seth will be on a freaking hospital bed voting. That's how important it is.
It's really important. And another thing that's going on a lot in Maryland with a lot of everybody's got an opinion, but about Dan Cox, he can't win. He can't win. Well, you're right. He can't win if you don't vote for him. I mean, that's an easy pick. Well, he won't win. Well, you're right, because you're not voting for him and nobody else is voting for him. So you're right. He's going to win. You're a genius. You should work in Vegas because you make such great odds. It's not about perfection. It's about a direction. And the direction Maryland's going in right now is horrible.
Correct.
Horrible. I think we're in the top 5 most taxed states in the country. And that's going to keep going up.
Yep. We're becoming worse than California.
Yeah, I think we're right up there with them. But Dan wants to go the opposite way. So what's wrong with that? What's the big problem with him not wanting to tax the shit out of everybody?
And I can tell you, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, what's so horrible about that?
And I can tell you, people were skeptical of his campaign in 2022. I can tell you, looking at it now, he is running a completely different campaign than he did in 2022. He's more catering to independents now. He's not just focused on his base. He's not just focused on hardcore Republicans. He knows that he needs to cross the aisle. And he has been crossing. I mean, he's been going to places to try to cross the aisle. He's got former Governor Bob Ehrlich behind him. As Governor Ehrlich, he ran a race where he went everywhere. I mean, he talked to everybody. So I believe that with the help and direction of Governor Ehrlich, this will help Dan Cox get a lot more traction than he did when he first ran. Because when he first ran, he was in office. He really didn't know what he was doing. I'll be honest with you. Because he talked to myself and Tim privately. He's like, I really don't know what the hell I'm doing. We gave him advice along the way, but now he's had 4 years to kind of plan it out and kind of rethink things and regenerate himself and regenerate his plan. And he's got a different running mate this time. He doesn't have a crazy woman. So I mean, I'm sorry, she's a nutcase. There was too much drama in that camp, and I think the guy that he's working with, Crop, is they get along very well. There's not drama there, so that makes it better. Also, Dan is not in session because he's not a delegate anymore. He was in session when he ran in 2022, so that hurt him too because he couldn't really campaign. He was relying on Jordana, who had no freaking clue how to campaign. I mean, she was just I mean, she just didn't know what the hell she was doing. There was a lot of stress and pressure on her, and she put a lot of stress and pressure on herself, even when people were trying to help her. But anyway, my point is that Dan is running a different campaign now. In my opinion, he's running a much stronger campaign. So we'll have to see, what happens in November.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a direction. If you like the direction we're going in now, if you like losing all your money to paint can taxes and whatever crap else they're putting out in Maryland, then you vote for Westmore. If you don't want to pay for paint can tax or pay $90 taxes on some other crap and new taxes that are coming down the pike, then you vote for Dan. It's really that simple. Do you want to keep your money or give it away? That's what it boils down to.
And this is not Larry Hogan versus Westmore. It's not like a vote for Larry Hogan is a vote for Westmore. This is different. You have someone who's very Republican, very conservative against a Democratic socialist. And Westmore is not even really campaigning because he's focused on a presidential election. If you notice, he's not even here. So if he's not even here and he doesn't really want to be bothered and he's actually hanging out with senators. Why is he hanging out with senators? He needs to hang out with the constituents of Maryland. He needs to focus on the state level and stuff like focusing on the federal level and trying to get himself involved with national issues and getting himself in front of the camera on a national and worldly level. You can tell that he's checked out. He really isn't interested in being governor. He's really interested in being the president of the United States. So that's something that, voters really need to understand. And I think that's the reason why Ed Hale lost in the primary. Because he basically said, I'm here. If I lose, I'm just going to keep building my home up in New Hampshire and stay up in New Hampshire. He's like, I really don't want to be. He really, in my opinion, he really didn't want to be the governor. He just wanted to do that to prove a point and blah, blah, blah. And he's really a Democrat anyway. So this is not Ed Hale versus Westmore. This is a very, like I said, hardcore Republican conservative against a Democrat socialist. So, you guys.
And maybe Westmore's out of town because he's getting more medals. I don't know. Maybe
trying to clean up his record there.
Guy gets more medals than anybody in the history of war. All right, let's move to the next subject here. And it's kind of interesting. I don't know if anybody's paying attention. There are people who think, we're overreacting about this or it's not that bad. Flock cameras are popping up everywhere. So if you don't know what a flock camera is, a flock camera is an automated license plate reader, an ALPR system made by Flock Safety, thus the name flock camera, that captures vehicle details, logs location data, and builds searchable travel databases. How it works is a data capture records passing vehicles, including license plate, make, model, color, and unique features like roof racks or bumper stickers. They say there's no facial recognition, focuses exclusively on vehicles in public view rather than scanning or identifying human faces, uploads the captured images to a data instantly via cellular networks into a searchable system used by law enforcement and private groups like HOAs. Nothing bad can happen with that. So the picture on the left is the actual camera, what it looks like. The picture on the right is what it sees when it takes its video or picture. It takes a picture of your license plate and your vehicle. Why do they need to know where you're going, where you've been? Why do they need to build an AI pattern of travel for you? I maybe I'm being crazy, but I don't want to use the word not safe. I don't think it's ethical. That's better. I don't believe that what they're doing with this camera is ethical. Granted, license plate numbers are public knowledge. I mean, it's on your car. Everybody can see it. But nobody's following me around to build a travel plan for me, to find out where I go, how long I go there, when I go there. That's nobody's business. And especially an HOA. Why the hell do they need to know anything? Mm-hmm. I think this could lead to a lot of other unethical behavior.
I agree with 100%. I think it would be effective if they were, trying to hunt down like a criminal or an illegal. It would be effective that way. But to go after regular everyday Americans with this, to follow them around, no, I don't like it at all. The issue is we all use GPSs. GPSs, you put that locator on, anybody can find out where you are. Everyone can find out where you're going, what's going on. And it sucks. And I wish I didn't have to rely on a freaking GPS. I mean, back in the day, we relied on maps. Maps were the way of the world. But nobody, if you ask a young person today, majority of young people do not know how to read a map.
True.
They do not. And I'll be honest, my father was the driver, so he was the map. So I never really learned how to, use a map either. But the question is, if we didn't have all this technology, if we didn't have the cell phone, how would people get around? Eventually, we'd have to figure it out. We'd have to learn how to use a map and so forth. In my opinion, we should go back to the days of old. That's just me. I love a typewriter. That's just me. I mean, of course, that's not going to happen. But yeah, I agree with you that AI is becoming too intrusive into your life. I believe that nothing is private. Even, now that we're on a camera here, it's been proven fact that the DOJ, the FBI, they can actually see you through your camera and they can watch you. That's why actually that was something that Edward Snowden proved. And he actually told people to put tape on your camera of your computer so nobody can look in and see your stuff. Does anybody really do that? No. But he proved it. You do? I know I need to do more of it, but I don't. I personally don't like it. I don't like it at all. And it's so funny because I get screwed because, I was taught that yellow means proceed with caution.
Yeah.
And sometimes the person in front of me drives slow and it's going yellow and I'm passing the yellow and then it's turning red, like within like that, that 30-second window. And guess what? I get dinged. And guess what? The tickets aren't $40 in Maryland anymore. They're $150 now. I'm like, what the hell? And in the state of Maryland, you got to pay it. And I found in the state of Ohio, if you get a camera via like AI or whatever, you don't have to pay it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't have to pay it. Because the law states that if it wasn't an actual police officer clocking you, you don't have to pay it. Because they could say there was an issue with the machine, yada, yada, yada. But in Maryland, liberal states, you got to pay it.
Well, so Maryland also charges a paint can tax, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, I just don't. Fine, law enforcement uses it, but I don't understand why HOA. I don't understand that. Because Bill didn't mow his lawn, so now we need to track him to find out why he's not mowing his lawn.
Exactly.
What do they need it for? And apparently they said that the databases of data is typically stored temporarily, only often for 30 days before automatic deletion occurs, unless flagged for an active investigation. I mean, they can say what they want to say. I mean, no one knows for sure that 30 days, all that stuff goes on. I just don't like the fact that they track you and build travel, like where you've been, where you may go, I don't see a need for that at all. It's the American Civil Liberties Union argue that tracking everyday drivers creates passive, warrantless tracking of ordinary citizens. Multiple law enforcement officers nationwide have faced termination or criminal charges for improper use of the database to track personal acquaintances or romantic interests. So it's already started. I mean, it doesn't matter what system you have. There's always going to be some idiot that wants to use it for their own reason. But back in the day, like Alexandra was saying, it was just a camera. It didn't track you. Either you were in front of the camera or you weren't.
Correct.
This will track you. If there's 5,000 flat cameras in your city, every time you drive by a camera, it starts to build a travel path.
I don't like it.
Make a pattern, so then they know where you're going. So yeah, I don't like that at all.
I don't like it at all. Very intrusive.
Very. And if there's already people abusing it, that's only going to get worse. All right. Well, this was a very short segment, which was good because me and Alexandra were talking a lot. So we'll take another break and then we'll come right back.
Awesome.
Hey, it's great to be on with you. This is a great podcast. It's a lot of fun and it's informative and it's real information. It's none of the frills and none of the nonsense that you hear on the legacy media. Just telling the story of what's happening right now. It's what I do with my newsletter that I get out to anybody who wants to see it. It's what you're doing with this podcast. America needs to know what the real deal is, and you're the real deal.
America's Pulse Network. During this episode of The Pulse, the host looks forward to your comments. If you like what the APN's The Pulse podcast talks about, then please share The Pulse with others.
Take that out real quick. So we're back. So this is segment 4, and it's pretty much the Wild Bunch. We've been serious for the last 45 minutes, an hour. So we'll spend the last 10 minutes just talking about stuff that's ridiculous and not so stressful and more fun than anything else. So the first thing we'll talk about is this. Gen Z and Zillennial employees are slipping out of their offices by the thousands during lunch breaks to cry in secluded spots about the stress of the workday.
Oh my God.
Yeah. According to Fortune magazine, who did a poll. I don't even know what to say. The day's rough, so I got to go sneak off and cry.
That is insane. It's called life. I'm sorry. Like, not everybody has a trust fund. I mean, you go to work. I mean, look, I've always been a proponent, and Trump said this, you have to do what you love and love what you do. But sometimes, depending on the job, if you need fast cash, if you need someone to pay the bills, sometimes you have to kind of like start out in doing a profession that you don't like to do or that you're not used to. Like people that have like a history degree, or they have a degree that really, when you get out of college, you don't really have a job waiting for you. Sometimes you have to do a different type of job.
Yep.
But I've never heard of this where you have a job and then you're allowed to like go in a side room and cry. I know like, when I sell insurance, like we're in a factory, we're like in a government building, and they don't allow you to be on your cell phone. They don't allow you to take personal calls. If they hear you crying in another room, they will report you and they'll throw your butt out because you're dealing with people's lives. I mean, I've never heard of this before. Go in your car and cry. I mean, like, what the heck?
But why even do you need to cry?
Because some people, they can't function.
So your boss yells at you, you go break down in your car?
Yeah.
Suck it up, buttercup. That's life.
Exactly. It's crazy. Get some balls. Take a beta blocker. Like,
drink like the rest of us. Get over it. Oh, God damn.
Yeah. Well, oh my God. Well, remember, God forbid you can't give kids homework. Oh my God, you give a kid homework, it's the end of the world. But I have my tennis, practice. I have my ballet recital. I have this. guess what? I was in shows and I had homework. I did my homework the minute I got home, and guess what? My show was at 9:00 at night, and I did it all. So I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear
See
it.
this next one. Oh, this is a good one. This is in I think it's in India. It's a buffalo nicknamed Donald Trump. You can tell by the
Looks just like Donald with the
I
hair.
know. He was spared from being slaughtered during Eid al-Adha at the last minute. He's a rare albino bull weighing 700 kilograms and already been sold to a ritual slaughterer, but they spared him, I guess, because they're going to make more money with him alive sending pictures around than they will of eating him. But yeah, when I first saw it, I didn't notice the top. I'm like, well, that's a bull. What's it got to do with Donald Trump? And then I looked at the top. I'm like, oh my God, it looks just like his hair. Same
that is
color.
hilarious.
It is pretty funny.
That is really funny.
Now, see, the thing is, if this were about, I don't know, Biden, people would lose their minds.
Mm-hmm.
Liberals wouldn't laugh. They'd be all upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
But see, it's sometimes you just got to laugh. And that's funny. That really made me laugh. Same kind of face. Looks like he's upset.
I think that's hilarious. The guy, the bull was saved because of his hair. That's hilarious.
Pretty much. This is kind of weird. I don't know if you heard about this. A school district in rural upstate New York was going to buy an AI-powered robot to help teach in high school, and that's the robot in front of the blonde. After the teachers and local residents raised concern, including the maker's ties to a company that produces hyper-realistic sex bots. So I guess they're worried about the robot maybe flipping the script during class and turning into like Shelly the Slut sex robot. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Salamanca County Central School District approved $60,000 to purchase the robotics with the version that Sally, right there, the blonde, would have been. She would have been used to enhance the education of high school students studying robotics and technology fields. So she
should be used to enhance something.
60 grand, she better.
Oh my God.
This goes back to the flock cameras. This is AI. I mean, if I didn't tell you that that person was a robot, nobody would have known.
Yeah, I did. I mean, she looked like a real person from far away.
And they were going to use her to teach in classes.
No. Remember, guys, issue with robots, they don't have feelings. They claim they have feelings, but they don't. They try to program them to have feelings, but they don't. My mom's a teacher. She'd be very insulted by this.
And if they do start getting feelings, we're in trouble. But I can guarantee you the people that bitched the most were the teachers union. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
I'm sure the parents really weren't that concerned about it. Like, oh, whatever. It's the teachers union that can see the writing on the wall that pretty soon we're not going to need to have you socialist teachers in front of the class. We can put a robot up there now and do the same thing for cheaper.
That's true.
So I'm sure they're fighting it.
But $60,000, that's a lot of money. Because most teachers, those are not, like most teachers, they don't even obtain $60,000 a year until they've taught for 20 or 30 years, depending on what state you live in.
And that's just a one-time payment. You don't have to pay them bi-weekly. It's 60 grand done.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm again, like with the flock cameras, I'm a little concerned about AI being that intrusive.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm just old and need to get with the times, but I'm still not sold on it.
I'm not either.
And this is pretty cool. In the Jersey wetlands, there was a note in a bottle that a gentleman found when walking through that was written in 1973. It was from a girl named Blair, who was 16 at the time. And the note said, where is it? This bottle was adrift on August 20th, 1973 on the 2nd Street Beach, Ocean City, as my captors were transporting me to an island offshore in the Atlantic. Please notify my family that a bunch of ruthless sponge fishermen are forcing me to dive for them in shark-infested waters. Please return this note to my home address. Let them know you have saved my life. Thank you, Laura Blair. Of course, this was a joke by a 16-year-old written, but I think it's neat that 53 years later, someone actually found the note in the bottle. I think that's pretty cool.
That's amazing. I think that's great.
There are people said they found notes in bottles on the beach from like decades ago that wash up on shore.
Yep. There was actually a movie years ago with Kevin Costner and Robin Wright Penn called Message in a Bottle.
Yeah.
Yep. Same thing.
I'm not a big romantic movie kind of guy, but I remember that movie.
That was a good movie.
Oh, so yeah, that's the fun and interesting news. Like I said, it's just stuff that caught my eye today, and I was like, wow, that's pretty neat. I still think which one? The one that made me laugh the most was that one.
That's my favorite. That is my favorite. That's epic.
I wonder if he's seen it yet.
We should send it to him. You should send it to him.
I could.
Yeah, True Social. We'll pick it up.
Should. That made me laugh the hardest.
So funny.
And then this one kind of made me chuckle too.
That one's insane. That reminds me of when when Trump became president the second time around, and they offered the kids like hot chocolate. They told them they could skip class. I'm like, what happened when Obama won? I didn't get that.
Yeah,
not at all. I was forced to go to class when Obama won. Oh my God, I couldn't say anything.
I didn't get hot chocolate or nothing.
Yeah, they provide a hot chocolate and a therapy session and blankets and and dogs and all this crap. In college, these are college students. It's just supposed to be grown ass people getting ready to work in the workforce or getting married, God forbid. And they're bitching over Donald Trump and crying, and they can't go to class because the orange man won. Like, oh my God, get over it.
I know. Like, there's so many other more important shit that goes on in your life that shouldn't even pop on your radar.
I wouldn't even marry somebody like that. Oh my God.
It's ridiculous. All right, let's take one more break and then we'll come back and wrap everything up.
Nice.
Maybe.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up. Because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. But America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. The New Jersey State House Watch, hosted by Jack Brangan and Constance Detzel. APN's The Pulse is moderated by either Alexandra, Damon, Elena, or Seth. Also tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. Join the revolution because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth. America's Pulse Network. During this episode of The Pulse, the host looks forward to your comments. If you like what the APN's The Pulse podcast talks about, then please share the Pulse with others.
So we're back. I keep forgetting to take these things off.
No, that's okay.
There we go. So, again, this was The Pulse. I'm Seth Eisenberg. That's Alexandra Levine. She does her own show, All In with Alexander. And again, it's going to be hit or miss for the next few, I guess, couple months with The Pulse. Like I said, Damon Galdo's running for office. Alexandra's helping Tim Fazenbaker run for office. Elena Barbera is helping Damon run for office. So everybody's kind of tied up for things except me because I don't have a life. I don't do anything. I'm pretty much boring. So I'm not running for any office. I have no desire to run for any office again. I did it once. It was fun. Won't do it again. But so that's what it's going to be like for the next couple of months. We appreciate everybody bearing with us while we go through this. There's life outside of this, and people have to live their life, and we got to understand that. But we're going to do whatever we can to keep bugging you during the week on Wednesdays and Thursdays and Mondays and Sundays as best we can. If worse comes to worse, you'll be just stuck with my smiling face 4 or 5 days a week for an hour each. I don't know if that turns your stomach, makes you happy, but it could boil down to that for a while. So prepare yourself however you need to.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Yes. Don't have children watching when I'm on, because it probably will not end well for you or for me. So
You haven't cursed once this entire show. I'm
I
surprised.
said asshole.
Oh, okay. Okay. There we go.
But if I didn't, I just did. So there's that. So why don't you tell everybody, what you're doing and where they can find you, when you can be found, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So as you know, I'm Alexandra Levine Live. I have my show normally on Tuesdays, every first and third Tuesday of the month, and every Thursday of the month. As you know, I am the White House correspondent. So when I'm down on Capitol Hill, I'm always, I'm down there and I'm filming and letting, our audience know what's going on. I can tell you for the record, I do contact Caroline Levitt. Well, now I do, because she's back on maternity leave, but even when she wasn't, I do contact her in regards to what's going on. Everything you've heard about when the president talks about Baltimore County and Maryland, it comes from me directly. And I'm happy that the president is commenting on that and is focused, because everyone's like, they tell me, President Trump, why would he care about Maryland? But actually, Maryland is more important than people think. Even though it is a liberal state, there's a lot of stakes. The stakes are high in Maryland. We do a lot. I mean, Maryland is right next to DC, so he can't ignore it. As Seth said, I am a political consultant. I own my own political consulting firm. I'm currently working with Mr. Eisenberg. He is the Republican nominee for Baltimore County Council District 9, which will be one of the newest county council seats, because the county council expanded from 7 to 9. So he'll be the newest member on the county council in a very MAGA Republican America First district. He's running against a non-America First person. Her name, she goes by Arkia Wade, but her real name is Arkia Jamaluddin. You can find her on Facebook. She is wearing a hijab in some of her Facebook posts. So if that's what you want in that district, if you think that district deserves a hijab and Sharia law and, that path, then you can vote for her. Or if you believe in America first, if you believe in America's values, if you believe in Judeo-Christian values, then I would highly advise. And if you believe in preserving and protecting Fort Howard, which needs to go back to the veterans and not Section 8 housing for criminals and for illegals, then vote for Mr. Eisenberg, who has done so much for the district, who was an elected official. He got reelected for the Central Committee, which is awesome. So he'll technically be sworn in the Central Committee in November. And then when he wins in November for the county council, he'll be sworn in for the county council December 6th. So I'll have to step down from the Central Committee. But I mean, that man literally demolished the entire rhino establishment of Maryland in one night. And it was so beautiful to see, because they have tried to tarnish his good name and reputation for almost 7 years, just because he stood up against the rhino establishment of Maryland and said, hey, I don't like what you're doing to my community. Hey, what the hell? And they just came after him and threw the kitchen sink and said the most horrible things about him. But it's interesting that now that he's won the primary, all those idiots that were crapping on him, they've stopped. And some of them actually come around and have reached out to him and have made meetings with him and have talked to him, because they know that he's going to win, and they know that they were defeated. They were literally defeated. And they're like, oh, it's like that. It's like that saying, if you can't beat them, join them.
Right.
Now they're going to join them. Thank God. But I can tell you that Mr. Eisenberg will never, he's not bond paid for. His values will never be swayed. His values will never change. He will always stick by his principles and hardcore values, and he will always put you first and put your family first. And we're actually putting together a big event August 6th. It's a Thursday night. It's going to be at the Fountain. It's in Drug City in Dundalk. It's a very intimate, romantic room in Drug City. We've had an event there before. And a lot of business owners will be coming to that event, because they know that without Mr. Eisenberg's approval, guess what? Their contracts don't go through, and they're screwed. So, yeah, if you're a business owner, you definitely need to be there Thursday night, because you need to see what President Trump, what Mr. Eisenberg is. They actually called Tim the Trump of Maryland. But you really need to see and hear what Tim's vision is for the district going forward. Because once he's in there, he'll be in there for 4 years. So it'll be 4 years of him working with business owners in the Dundalk, Edgemere, and Sparrows Point area.
And he's also a good guy. He's got a family, so he's not wishy-washy. You know, he knows what's right, he knows what's wrong. And he's the kind of guy that if he wouldn't want it for his family or doesn't think it's right for his family, he's not going to force it on yours.
Correct. And yeah, I mean, he's been married to his wife for almost 20 years. He's got 4 children. His eldest just graduated from Sparrows Point High School. She graduated with honors. She's getting a full scholarship ride to college. And I think she graduated 3rd in her class. She was almost valedictorian. And that's a reflection of the parents. And his son is like a year below her, TJ, and he's a straight A student. I remember Tim would always text me his kids' report cards because he was so proud of them. They're all straight A students. And that, again, that is a reflection of the parents. And he doesn't force them to be straight A students. He doesn't like ask them to be. They do it because they want to do it. They love to learn. They love to be in school. And also, you know, Tim was very careful which public school his kids went to because he wanted, of course, to have his kids go to public school where there isn't this wokeism. And that's one thing about Sparrows Point Middle School, elementary school, and high school is all the teachers are Republican. They're not woke teachers at all, thank God. They don't, like, the principals don't put up with that crap. So thank God. But yeah, I mean, again, his eldest daughter and children are a reflection of the parents. So again, when the rhinos, and even it was actually mostly it was his own party that was throwing the kitchen sink at him, not Democrats. You think Democrats would be throwing the kitchen sink at him? No, his own freaking party was throwing the kitchen sink at him. And he defeated them all in one night, and I'm very proud of him. And he just keeps growing and growing. You know, in the 6 years that I've known him, he just keeps growing and growing. And it's just a beautiful thing to see. It really is.
Yeah, I liked him on a personal level. He's a nice guy. I like talking to him. He's funny. And he's very approachable. I've never once talked to him and got the impression like, oh, God, he's bothering me. He's very approachable, and I like him. He's the kind of guy I'd go have a beer or two with. And
we still haven't had it yet.
I know. I know. I got to.
No, we will.
And my parents used to send something like you said. Tim used to send report cards to you from his kids to brag. My father would send my arrest record to our family to show that I hadn't been arrested for the year, and he'd brag about that.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
He would do something like that. Well, thanks for hanging out. I'll cut you loose. It's late. I know you're in Ohio, and it's a party town, and I know you like to party.
I'll be in Maryland soon, guys. I was actually just in Maryland. I was at the Edgemere Veterans Parade.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. How was that?
It was really good. I mean, you know, Tim gets a lot of reception. I was there for Tim. They did have other organizations, like they had a Preserve Fort Howard float, which was awesome. They had the Greater Northern Association, which is our friend Frank Niehoff, so he had his own float. And of course, some elected officials were there. Bob Long was there. Rick Metzger, Johnny Salling, Boo. Was there. I can't remember if Robin Grammer was there. He might have been there. I'm not sure. He might have, I don't know. He might have been there, whatever. But anyway, it's always elected officials first, and then you have, like, you know, the good people. What's interesting is, like, they purposefully put Tim as like one of the last people, but it was great. It was like save the best for last, because they originally told him that he was going to be with the elected officials. But you know what? It worked out better because, you know, we don't want to be, you know, there now. There's one elected official. We do work with Bob Long. He's very good. He's actually getting the job done. But like Rick Metzger, Johnny Salling, like, we don't want to be with them. Like, they're jerk offs. They vote against the people. They vote for tax hikes, and they vote for state funded abortions, and they're horrible people. So it was good that Tim kind of had like his own little, you know, space, you know, to himself. And he got very high reception. And it wasn't that hot that day, thank God. It wasn't hot. It wasn't like 100 degrees like it was for 4th of July. 4th of July, I almost died.
It was nasty.
But this time it was much better.
And before I cut you loose, let's let everybody know that if you're interested in being a podcaster with us, you go to our website, and then there's like the little menu lines at the top. You click on that and then go to application for a podcaster.
Yep.
You fill out the application. Our executive producer, Damon, gets it, and he funnels it to all us, me, Alexandra, the other Damon. We look at it, we laugh at you, and then throw the application away because we don't want you on here. We interview you to make sure you're a good fit. It's fun to do. I mean, it's not as time consuming as you would think it is, but it's fun. And if you're looking to run for office or get your name out there, this is not a bad way to do it. So we encourage you to do that. And if you're interested in sponsoring a show or the entire network, you go to the same website, correct? Go to the same menu, and then I think it just says sponsor.
Yep, you follow the sponsorship form.
And then you can pick a show or the entire network that you want to sponsor.
Or
And
even
again,
the Pulse. You can sponsor the Pulse.
yeah, you can sponsor the Pulse or whatever you like to do. And like most things that are good to do and help people, it ain't cheap. It's not cheap doing this, and it's all out of pocket. So if you'd like to, go ahead and put in a submission to be a sponsor or a podcaster. We're always looking for new podcasters. And again, it's fun. It's more fun than work. The way I look at it is, it's kind of like relaxing. And you get to hang out with Alexandra and Damon.
There you go.
Pretty cool.
But FYI, guys, if you don't fill out the form, we can't give you the 10 a day. You must fill out the form. Don't ask me questions about pricing and stuff until you fill out the form.
Yeah,
like one guy was asking me all these questions. Like, you got to fill out the form. Like, we have to have a discussion. Like, that's we have a procedure and a protocol, and we have to do that as compliance. And we're an LLC, and we're a team, and that's how it has to be.
There's no fee for filling out the applications.
There's no fee. Yeah, there's no application fee. It's a very easy application. It's not rocket science. If you have a question, you can always text us or ask, but we can't even go to the next level until you fill out that application.
Yeah, we can't get into specifics.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you said, it's an LLC. We've got bylaws we got to follow, so we can't really answer any questions other than, that's where you go, or you fill that out. Other than that, we really can't. It's not because we're jerks, but like you said, there's bylaws with the LLC we have to follow. We just can't. Yeah. Even I have to follow the rules sometimes.
Per our attorneys.
Yes.
We have many.
We want to make them happy.
Exactly.
Because you don't want the attorneys pissed. It's not fun. All right. Well, Alexandra, thanks for hanging out. It's always fun.
Oh, it was great. I love being on the show with you.
Tell Tim I said hey. I haven't talked to him in a while. And I'm
maybe
sure
we'll come to you.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon, very soon.
Definitely. You'll probably be filling in for me a few times.
I'm like the this cleanup hitter on baseball. Put him in.
Exactly. You're the closer.
All right. Well, I will talk to you later.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks so much, guys. Take care.
Where are we? I'm too old for this. So that was Alexandra Levine. She got to hang out again. Everybody's really busy running for office or helping other people run for office. So just bear with us the next couple of months. We'll get through this. Again, it might be a majority of me. Again, that might be good for you. That might be bad for you. I don't know how you look at it. But we'll get back to average here very soon. So just bear with us as we get people elected to the positions and we can redo a schedule for them. I don't know if you ever watched me before, but I usually end all the shows with an opinion. So I'll end it with an opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. You can tell me to piss off or whatever you want to tell me. Just something I've thought and I would share with you all. So here we go. You know that feeling when everything's going sideways? You missed the bus, spilled coffee on your shirt, boss is already in a mood, and somehow you still manage to crack a grin at how ridiculous it all is. That's the sense of humor doing its quiet magic. It's not about being the class clown or having a polished joke ready for every situation. It's more like a soft cushion for the hard landings life continuously throws at us. When stress starts climbing up your neck and your mind starts spinning, a little laugh, even at yourself, can cut it down to size. Suddenly the day doesn't feel quite so heavy. You're still dealing with the mess, but you're not drowning in it. It also makes people stick around. Nothing pulls folks closer faster than sharing a real, unenforced laugh. Those inside jokes with your partner, the friend who gets your weird references, the coworker who catches your eye across the meeting when something absurd happens. Those moments stick longer than most serious conversations. Humor quietly says, hey, we're in this mess together, without having to spell it out. It lowers the walls people put up. It makes ordinary interactions feel warmer and safer. And when things actually suck, when the bad news lands, the plan falls apart, or you're just exhausted from caring too much, humor doesn't pretend everything is fine. It just refuses to let the suck win the whole day. You can still notice the absurdity in the middle of the chaos. That little shift in perspective is often enough to keep you moving instead of shutting down completely. It gives you a way to be kind to yourself when you're messy or imperfect instead of beating yourself up. Honestly, the people who seem to handle life best aren't the ones who never get knocked around. They're the ones who can still find something worth smiling about afterwards. Not forced positivity or toxic cheerfulness, just that stubborn ability to see the funny side when it shows up. Over time, that habit softens the edges of hard seasons and makes the good days feel even brighter. So yeah, keep that sense of humor close. Practice noticing the small, ridiculous things. Laugh at yourself more than you used to. It's one of the cheapest, most reliable ways to make ordinary days better and rough ones a little bit more livable. And in a world that can feel relentlessly heavy, that small daily choice adds up more than most people realize. So that's my opinion. Again, you don't have to agree with it. You can completely ignore it now if you want to. But that's that. So thanks for hanging out. On behalf of me and Alexandra, thanks for watching us tonight in the Pulse. And again, we'll get back to how it used to be once we get some people elected and the election season's over. Everything will go back to normal. So I will see you all next Wednesday at 8 o'clock on the Pulse. Other than that, you all have a good rest of the week. Don't work too hard and have a good weekend. I will talk to everybody later.
The Conservative Corner Podcast. Hoist the standard. Stand fast and sail with Captain Seth Eisenberg every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yo, all hands, hoist the colors high. Heave ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we die. Now some have died and some are alive, and others sail on the sea with their keys to the cage and the devil to pay. We lay to fiddler's grave. All together, hoist the colors high. Heave ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we die.
America's Pulse Network thanks you for watching tonight's episode of the Pulse Podcast. See you at the next packed episode that will take you from breaking news to informative topics. So please click on the subscribe button to get notified for upcoming episodes. If you liked what the Pulse covered, then share the Pulse Podcast with others. APN's The Pulse hosts look forward to seeing you on the next episode.